Okay, it's me, Matt. I'm here in Vegas, always in Vegas, stuck in Vegas. Going into the first round of the playoffs. They call it the wild card playoffs, wild card round. Basically, everybody plays, but the one team that gets the bye in the NFC, which would be the Packers and then the Chiefs in the AFC. This method we've been doing all year. It's a book that I published called The Quick and Dirty NFL Handicapping Method by Ken Osterman. But as Osterman says in his book, this method is only for the regular season. But since I don't really use it, like a religion, I don't bet every selection that this method chooses. I'm only betting a subset. I do like to look at the games for the playoffs, and then maybe bet a subset. So I've done the handicapping per the method, got the point spreads, compared them to the lines here in Vegas. I'll show you how that turned out, and I've got also my own selections within a subset of that. There will be 3 games on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Starting with Saturday's games. Colts, Bills. Yeah, this method says Bills by 12 points. Vegas has got Bills by 6.5, so that's a bet on the Bills. Note that the Indianapolis Colts are 8-8 total for the year. 16 games, 8 wins, 8 losses against the spread. So that's nothing. They're completely average. You would have lost money on 8-8 because it's bet 11 to win 10. So, and they're 0-3 in their last 3 games, and that's what I like to look at. Is just what they've done recently. They're 0-3 against the spread. The Bills, on the other hand, are 3-0 against the spread in their last 3 games. They've won all 3 games straight out. The last 8 games, they're undefeated against the spread. They're actually 11-5. No, that's against the spread, but they've won their last 8 games against the spread. I mean, the Bills are a very underrated team. As much as they win, as much as they're going to the playoffs with home field advantage, and that might mean a little something. I think the Bills are going to have some fans out there. Yeah, against the spread, betting on the Bills the last 8 games, you've cashed 8 consecutive winning tickets. That's how good they've been. I look for them to cover. The method applied to this game, which you're not supposed to use in the playoffs, but still, it's minus 12. It looks like a good bet. It's definitely an Osterman. Well, technically not an Osterman bet. Again, this is not supposed to be for the regular season, but I'll go ahead and give you what the method would have picked along with my choice, which would be the Bills. My choice for sure. Rams, Seahawks. Minus 3.5 here in Vegas. There's no overlay there. It's minus 3.5 point spread using this mechanical method. There's no bet there, but I think the Rams quarterback is going to be questionable for the game. The Seahawks are 9-7 against the spread. The Seahawks are actually 8-8 against the spread for the season, and they started 4-0. They've gone 4-8 since then. They're a bit over bet, as the Seahawks usually are. But lately, they've been kind of mediocre, and I don't know, they should be able to take the Rams, but their defense is weak, and if their starting quarterback for the Rams goes out there, they've got a pretty decent offense. If they want to, they're a little inconsistent, but if they go out there and play, then the Rams can put some points on the board, and it could be a high-scoring game. I don't see a bet there myself, so I'm passing. And the final game is Buccaneers, Redskins, and they're Redskins until they give me a new name. Buccaneers 3-0 in their last 3 games, 2-1 against the spread. Redskins 1-2 in their last 3 games, 1-2 against the spread. They're minus 8.5. The Buccaneers, I don't see the bet there. That's a pretty high. They should be able to cover the spread, but it's not a big overlay if they can. So I can understand people going with the Buccaneers here, not the Redskins. But the Buccaneers, yeah, I'm going to pass on minus 8.5. They're just trying to win the game. And if Alex Smith can play, they might be able to put some points on the board. But they are a real beat-up team right now, Washington. And I don't know if they're going to be up to being real competitive in this game. But we'll see. I'm going to pass on that, though. Going into Sunday's games, Ravens-Titans, fascinating game, because the Ravens, I'm not a big Ravens fan. I like the Titans. I like Tannehill. and I've been rooting for him. Last year, I thought he did a really good job, and I was really happy he performed as well as he did. And I've been rooting for the Titans on and off all year. Sometimes I'm rooting for the other team if I bet against the Titans, but here in this game, the Ravens just have so much momentum going into this playoffs, and I know they're a wild card team, and they're on the road. Tennessee will probably have some home field advantage there. They'll probably have some people they have for many weeks now. They've had fans, not a lot, a few thousand, but that might be a home field advantage, just having a few people in the stands. But I don't think that's going to be enough to cover the point spread here, because Ravens are here in Vegas are -3.5. That's a very low number. They should be able to beat the Titans by more than that. You know, both teams on the season are 11-5, but the Ravens have had 5 straight wins, flat out 5 straight wins. But they're 6-0 in their last 6 against the spread, 10-5-1 in the season. They made you money if you bet every game. They made you money this year. The Ravens have been a money-making team. Titans have been 7-9 against the spread on the season, so they've cost their backers some money. So Ravens making money for their bettors. Not that they are thinking about us, but they're there. They're covering the spread. They've been underrated. Believe it or not, they've been underrated. Now that they're in the playoffs, people are picking them as the best wild card team, the most likely team probably to win in the first round. So maybe it's going to be an underlay, but I think -3.5. You know, I figure they win by at least 7. I think it's an overlay here to bet on the Ravens. Yeah, I have a note here. I forgot the Titans won their first 5 games. Then they went 6-5 for the rest of the season. So outside of that quick start, they've been kind of mediocre the last 2/3 of the season. But we'll see. They've got the tools. They got the offensive tools, and pretty good defense. They could be competitive against the Ravens. They could win it. They are underdogs, I think. Probably they should be more than a +3.5 underdog, though. So I think the overlay is on the Ravens. In the second game for Sunday, it'll be the Bears against the Saints. The Bears are 8. The Bears are in the playoffs because it's a weak NFC. What can you say? They're 8-8 against the spread for the season. They're 8-8 on the season, just about as average as you can be. The Saints, on the other hand, are 2-1 in their last 3. They're 2-0-1 against the spread in their last 3. On the season, they are 9-6-1 against the spread. A lot of people didn't believe, I guess, in the Saints. If you bet on the Saints every game, you would have won money. So kudos to Saints fans who like to bet on their team. They are 12-4 on the season, so you know they're not quite as good against the spread as they are just winning games. But still, the Bears, I think, I don't see it. Right now, the Saints are -10, which make the Bears +10. That's a lot of points. The Saints should win easily, I think. Do they cover 10 points? I don't know. I tell you the truth, for me personally, as soon as these games get into double-digit point spreads, I get real hesitant, because it's hard to say what's going to happen when a team gets a lead, and they might have a double-digit lead, and then at the end of the game, they go into that prevent defense. They're just trying to win the game. The other team catches up on the quick passes and runs out of bounds, and they kick a field goal or a touchdown, and they're playing these little games where they're still in it, but they need a couple of onside kicks. And then in the end, the team doesn't cover the spread, but they win easy. Doesn't look like they won easy because they let the other team score a little bit at the end because they're just trying to run the time off the clock. I don't want my money on those kind of games. So Saints win. Saints beat the Bears. I don't see the Bears winning this game. Do they cover 10 points? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Not my money. I'm not putting money on that game. The last game is a fascinating game because it's Browns-Steelers, and they just played each other on the last game of the season. Steelers should have won that game. I don't know. I give the Browns credit for coming back. They won the game by 2 points. Kind of amazing. Can they win 2 back-to-back games against the Steelers? You would think so, but you got the COVID-19 positive test. Their coach is out. I don't know how a coach can be out You think he could be in a room somewhere with a two-way radio sending in all the information, but I guess he can't be near the stadium. They could have like NFL Zoom technology maybe during the halftime. I don't know. Apparently he can't do anything. I don't know how much that helps or hurts the team, rather. Maybe a little bit, but they've got some other positive tests that are running through their organization, some of the players. Mayfield, no. None of their key players, I wouldn't say, are really that hurt. But the problem is you never know what's going to happen. Like today, and today, by the way, I'm doing this on Thursday. So tomorrow, or even Saturday, they could have a positive test. Mayfield could be out. So whether you're going to bet the Browns or not, wait until the last possible moment you can make that bet, because once you make a bet in sports, it's not like horse racing. You go cash your ticket, you just change your ticket in. That's not so easy to do with sports betting like football. You make a bet on the Browns, and then Mayfield is suddenly positive, and I couldn't even tell you offhand who their backup quarterback is, but suddenly you've got a big bet or even a small bet on the Browns, and then no, it's not going to happen. They're not even going to come close. But oddly enough, and I think it has to do with the positive test, I would have had the Browns probably favored here by a field goal. They beat them last time. Maybe they could, or 2.5 points. They beat them by 2 last time. But they're actually +6 underdogs here in Vegas. I got to believe that has a lot more to do with the COVID-19 issue that's running through their organization. Or maybe people are just over-betting the Steelers because they're the playoff team and the Browns are just new to the playoffs. That could be it, but I think it has more to do with the coronavirus. But +6 on the Browns would be a good bet, I think, if they're going to be healthy. I'm going to probably lean away from not even bothering with the bet. I don't like betting at the last second because I don't even know where I'll be. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm losing my voice here. Yeah, I had to get me some tea. Okay, I'm back. One last thing I want to point out is the Browns on the season, 6-10 against the spread. They're poison. They are the worst. We're not probably the worst team in the playoffs right now against the spread. Although I'd have to double check those Washington numbers. But for the season, they're terrible. They're 11-5 on the season, so they do win. They're in the playoffs. Steelers are 12-4. The Steelers are 10-6 on the season. If you want to justify a bet just against the spread, Steelers are a much better bet than the Browns, but they're -6 here, which I don't think is such a great bet. But even if everybody's healthy, they started off great and they fell apart. They're kind of coming back. They had that Colts win. They did okay, but they're 1-2. They just got through losing to the Browns. They should have won, I think. But what are you going to do? You bet on the Steelers and then the Browns win, and then it's like, well, the Steelers should have won that game and they should have covered the spread, but they didn't. So you lose. I wouldn't bet on the Browns. I think it's not just COVID, but I don't like that. I don't like that 6-10 on the season against the spread. I don't like that at all. So I'm passing on the Browns. Yeah. So just to review real quick, what I would bet. These are just my bets. I got the Bills. Taking the Bills -6.5. I think they cover. I think the Colts are just in over their head against the Bills. The Ravens against the Titans, I'll take. They're the favorites, -3.5. I like that. I'm going to bet on that one too. So I got 2 bets, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. And as for Osterman's method, does not apply to the playoffs, but I like those 2 that were picked. In addition, this method has the Bears being a good bet at +10. I think that's evidence that this method is no good in the playoffs. And also Browns +6, actually, I can understand that. Browns +6 if you ignore their against the spread numbers all year and you ignore COVID, that could be a good bet. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'll be back throughout the playoffs. I'll be doing this with my picks, and I hope you join me. Remember to share this video if you want free picks. It's right here. Share this video or the link with your friends, and check out my other publications at Teela-Books.com, and we got other gambling books, other sports gambling books that we publish also. Thank you and good luck.